Hi everyone, welcome to the podcast. Today I have on Vicki and she is here to tell us the story.
Yes, I am. I was in my 50s, so I'm going to go back to 2021. I lost both of my parents within 2 months of each other. And being an only child, I, like most women, take everything on. I'm the doer. I do everything. I take care of everybody else. And when I lost them and realized that this was a totally different feeling in my life that I'd never experienced before, I was alone. Like yes, I had my children and I have my husband and my friends, and they were all a great support, but it wasn't about that. It wasn't what I needed. I needed to realize that it wasn't up to me to hold that way of being for everyone else and keep ignoring myself, which is what I had been doing. And I had been doing it for many years. Even after having my cancer scare in 2017, I still did. I still took care of everybody. Like most women do, we wear a lot of hats in a day. In 2021, I lost them. And then 2022, I sought after a coach, and it was Tina. And she asked me a question that no one's ever asked me before. And that was, who do you want to be? And I didn't know what that meant. I said, I don't know what you mean. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I'm a friend. No, she said, who do you want to be? And that clicked everything in my mind for me. I really realized at that point that my being was more important than what I was doing. And I lost myself somewhere in the doing. I lost who I was, what my purpose was. And I wasn't aligned anymore with that. So with some hard work and a lot of peeling back the layers of I always say the messy middle, the shitstorm that we all live in, I really started to work on myself and really started to feel more comfortable with who I was being and who I get to be. And I've watched the changes across my family, my friends, and I've seen the ripple effect in growing this podcast that I do, The Art of Being Unstoppable. I speak to women all over the world about what they've been through and what they've gotten through to become unstoppable. And it's definitely, you don't just become unstoppable after it's a work, it's a process, it's a practice. But I believe that we all have that in us and that we get to do that. It's a choice, and it really lights me up. It aligns with the purpose, and I've never felt so aligned, because I know that listening to other women's stories and really hearing where they're at, knowing that they get to share that, it will also help change someone else's life.
How did you start to answer that question of who did you want to be? What was that process if you didn't know what it was really?
Tina made it clearer to me, and she asked me, like, what stops you? And I felt like it was my confidence. I was always confident in doing hair and being that person that I needed to be for that, because I did it for so long. But this new version of me, this person that was an only child that now no longer had her parents, who had to now take care of everything, the estate and everything else going on in another city, traveling back and forth. I chose to be someone that could handle that and not someone that would suppress my emotions and, just keep burying them, because for lack of a better way of understanding things, I think that that's what we do. We just stuff everything down so that we don't have to worry about the other stuff because we're so busy doing what we have to do. So being able to realize that I needed patience with myself, confidence in the ability to be able to do what I needed to do, as well as determination to keep on the track of not falling back into the old patterns and the old habits that we tend to do because it's our comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I really realized that it's not an easy process, but I had to choose my heart. What was harder, staying there or being able to be somebody that I was proud of being?
So I'm curious how you would answer that question today. Who do you want to be?
It has changed. It was the confidence, and it was loving, and it was all those things that I felt like I was missing before. And now I feel like I've became that person. As I'm growing, I'm becoming more determined, more, I really am confident now, but the patience is still something that I'm working on. So that's still in there. But I just choose to be a leader and someone that women can come to and feel supported and feel heard. Because I don't believe that women are broken. I just think no one needs to be fixed. I just think we need to be remembered. And I also believe that we need to remember ourselves too, because that's...
What do you mean by that?
We put ourselves on the back burner in everything in life, right? If a friend calls and they're in an emergency, where do you go? You drop everything you're doing, you go to your friend. If you're whatever's happening, if you had something like non-negotiable self-care time is non-negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we give ourselves that. I mean, I know I didn't.
This sounds like what I've kind of been saying recently is that I've always known who I was, but I didn't listen. And
Yeah.
it's like going back to that inner child. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Yes. Being able to just be quiet and alone with yourself, it's not easy. It's not easy to see the things, the mistakes that you've made, or the struggles that you've had, or the trauma that you've endured, but facing it is so much easier in the long run than burying it and keeping it, your power hidden underneath all of the things that you've been through, like to peel back those layers and to realize that anything is possible and you get to be whoever you choose to be, right? Without any question, no one's opinion, no one's input, just what you feel. And listening to yourself, it's not easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
With all the noise. I mean, you work, you're busy, you're doing all these things, you wear a lot of hats, but are you taking care of Tina at the end of the day as well?
Mm-hmm. So your process of remembering yourself for someone that feels like this is something that they need to do, what would you recommend?
It is a process. I know that journaling helped me in the beginning. I have what I call the Beautiful Method, and that is a coaching program that I have put together really thoughtfully and intentionally to help women realize what is possible for them. The first step is believing in yourself and taking that step and not putting yourself on the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have to fill our own cups before we can give to anybody else. Because if you're not giving 100%, if you're not at 100%, you can't. It's not possible.
What if someone doesn't even know what she wanted to be?
That's okay, because most of us don't until we listen, until we stop and listen and start asking ourselves some questions. They're not hard questions. Are you happy? What changes do you feel like you need to make or you get to make? Because at the end of the day, social media and the way we were brought up, like, a lot of us were told we had to be certain things or we had to do certain things a certain way. And at a young age, you have to, okay, what do you want to be for the rest of your life? Well, that doesn't mean you're going to be that forever.
Mm-hmm.
What if you only decided to be that for 6 months and you want to try something different? It's okay, right? It's okay to keep that journey is endless because there is no destination.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the journey and the taking the time for you. So I think seeking a coach for me was definitely the tipping point for me, the change that I really felt like I needed.
Your process of listening to yourself, was it, I mean, I don't know. I was going to say, was it easy?
No, because I was never someone that liked to be alone. I was always go, 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 go. I had a salon. I had 4 kids. Now I have 5 grandkids. It wasn't until I literally learned to get quiet and be by myself. Be alone, not lonely, just by myself with just me, listening to what my inner thoughts and what I really wanted. I have a beautiful life. I have a beautiful family. I have great friends. I have a supportive husband. I have great people in my life. But if I'm not feeling fulfilled within myself, all of that falls flat because you really don't. We're always so busy going, going, going and doing that we miss the being part. So it's the first thing we let go. Mm-hmm. And I just see so many women do it. And it breaks my heart because I did it. And I've watched the ripple effect since I started shifting my way of being to the people that are around me, my friends, my family, my daughters, my husband, even though he doesn't like to admit it, he's shifted, right? And it's true. Once we really see the potential and the possibility that we can create anything that we want to, and we trust in ourselves, it's a process. It's taken me a good 4 or 5 years to actually start trusting me and my vision, my mission, my purpose.
How did you say cancer scare?
I had, in 2016, I was diagnosed with colon cancer. When the first diagnosis was said, it was stage 4. It was later than stage 3. They removed the tumor. I had chemo for 2017. I had to go through chemo. And I have something they call Lynch syndrome, which is, it's a genetic disorder. My dad had it. And he had colon cancer as well. So did his mother and his grandmother. So it's at higher risk for other cancers as well. So I do regular screening. I get everything screened every year. So I just know that, and I try to take care of myself. I try to be as healthy as I can.
Yeah.
And stress, honestly, if we're talking about health, if your body isn't in tune with your mind, all that whole interaction, the nervous system, everything can really play havoc on yourself.
So that was kind of my question. You said even during that time, you weren't really listening to yourself.
I didn't listen to myself. I worked so hard. I had a clientele. I had to be busy. I had to take care of everybody. So I didn't listen to my body. And I wouldn't have probably been as far along in my cancer had I listened.
Yeah.
But I didn't. And that's the key. Listen, just take that time, that quiet time. It's important.
Mm-hmm.
Self-care is important. And it's not about bubble baths and, yeah, that's all great too. But it's really listening to yourself and allowing yourself to be aware of your body's speaking to you. It's telling you something. Don't let it be too late. Don't let that diagnosis go even farther because you haven't listened.
And I think this is doubly a challenge for women potentially, because a lot of women's symptoms also get ignored.
Oh.
And we have to fight, double the strength. I don't know why I can't talk.
But yes, but it's true. We do. Yes, we do. I do definitely agree with you. It is. And like I said, in my podcast, I talk to women, and how many women have had health issues and have had no answers and nearly died. And if it hadn't have been for them listening to their intuition and their body, they wouldn't have gotten through it. Mm-hmm. So if we can help women like yourself with storytelling, I'm telling my story to your listeners to hopefully help someone not have to go through what I went through.
Yeah.
To hear it.
Yeah.
Or to see it, or realize that when we grieve someone, when we lose something, when we have any trauma in our lives, there is a way of going through it. And it's never, ever, no one does it the same. And allowing yourself the grace to go through what you need to go through, feel the feelings, and be aware that there's no timeline. Because we could be talking right now and I could start to get upset about thinking about my parents. It doesn't go away, but what it does is I now know how to handle it a little bit better. And I now know how that my feelings are justified and I get to feel my feelings, which most of us try to be. No, I'm good. Like, right? How often do you ask someone, how are you? I'm great. And they're not.
Yeah.
But people don't want to, burden anybody with their stuff or be a burden.
Yeah. But I feel like we need to share.
Yes.
In order to get it off of our chest.
And heal. The only way for us to heal is by communication. Whether you're writing it in a letter, whether you're writing it in your journal, whether you're speaking to your best friend, a coach, but people need to be heard. Our stories need to be told. That's how the healing starts.
And I was just having a conversation with someone else about this. Shame also breeds in silence and secrecy.
Yeah.
And when we can talk about things, it lifts the shame.
Yes.
Up.
Yeah, it does. And I had one of my guests had said to me about your vibration, your frequency. Guilt and shame are right above death in our frequency. So if we live in that, we're living there. We're not allowing ourselves that space to grow and to take in all of the beauty that life has to offer. Mm-hmm. Right? When we sit in that, and there is no guilt or shame in you get to feel your feelings, and you didn't know better. We all do the best we can at where we are at in our lives, but allowing yourself to be open to listen for advice, for help, doesn't mean you have to take it. There's no right or wrong. It's just the way it is. Like, that's just, by me being able to see things a little bit differently and out of a different lens than the way I did for so long, I've grown and I've allowed myself to expand and be able to take in more knowledge and more spirituality and more cause for myself. And I give myself grace when I'm not 100%. I give myself the grace. I don't push anymore. If you can do that for yourself, think about what you can give to others.
Yeah. I feel like I've been living in a different energy lately. And it is much more calming. I feel like I'm more forgiving of myself.
That's huge. And what brought that for you? Like, what made you feel that way?
I've been on a journey to stop numbing. So last fall, I decided to quit caffeine, which was a huge one for me. And then after that, I quit social media, which was another big numbing one for me. And then I just realized like I was able to quit all of these things. And more than that, there was like alcohol, which I stopped a long time ago now. And I was just like, why am I so hard on myself?
Right?
It was just kind of a light bulb moment where I've been thinking to myself, like, oh, I've been able to do so much and heal from like that person that felt so broken before.
Yeah.
And now I'm like okay with myself and I'm kind of happy with myself. And I just realized it was like a light bulb moment, kind of like just like, why am I so hard on myself?
But aren't we the hardest on ourselves? And I think that that's where it started with me too. I thought I needed to be the best mom, the best wife, the best daughter, the best caregiver, the best everything. And when any of that teetered on the, oh no, I've made a mistake, or oh no, this isn't right, then I was beating myself up so bad that, again, you're suppressing, you're numbing yourself, you're not feeling the feelings.
Yeah. I think in relation to that, one of my feelings is that I should be farther along than I am, in life in general, whatever that means. And now that I've had that revelation, it's like it's okay with not being that and just being okay with myself.
And being on your own timeline. Because everybody's so worse, like you said, well, I'm other people at my age are here, they're doing this and that, but their destination is what? What are they focused on? And for me, I think all too often that's what we do as a society is it's the destination. Well, I'm the CEO now, or I'm the this now. Yeah. Okay, so what happens when you get there? Can you not be proud and at peace with who you are right now while you're going through it? Right? Because the journey is the everything.
I'm reminded of that Barbie monologue where it's like you have to be perfect but not too perfect and everything.
Yeah.
They got it spot on.
Yeah, it's true. If people listening to our story, this podcast today can take something away and be aware that nothing is perfect, but you are perfect, whole, and complete exactly the way you are, where you're at, what destination or what point in the journey you're in, you are perfect, whole, and complete. And you get to just make that person, shine that person up for whatever, at whatever point you're at in your life.
Yeah. And also you get to decide that at any time.
You can choose.
And just like drop everything else and just be like, okay, I'm good.
Because it is your choice. It's no one else's. Yeah. There's only one. You are the only one responsible for you. And you are also the only one in control of what happens to you. No one else has a say. At the end of the day, only you. And I think that's powerful.
If you had to give your younger self advice, what do you think she needed to hear?
You're going to be okay. Trust yourself. I think that's the biggest thing is trust yourself. Don't doubt and be the leader. Trust and be the leader. Because I think that we tend to, even though I've always been a leader, you still follow. You do things because you think everybody else is. That's what it should be. Like, get married, have children. That was kind of the check boxes that we did when I was growing up. There's always these check boxes that everybody feels that they could have. And I think that if I could say to the younger version of Vicki would be, trust yourself, you've got this.
And so by be the leader, you mean kind of create your own path?
Yep. It's all yours. You get this life. It's a blank slate. You get to choose it. And I think that that's a brilliant thing.
Just in terms of myself, I know when I was in university, my mom had me write like the LSAT, the MCAT, I did the dental, I did all of it. And I didn't score well on any of them. So it was like, it set the stage early on that I was, a failure in a lot of ways. And just, I've spent a long time trying to recover from that.
Right. Absolutely. We don't realize what we do to, like I said, I have 4 children and we don't realize sometimes what we say and do. And it's out of love. Like I'm sure your mom did the best she could at where she was at in her life. And that's what she knew, right? When my dad died and my mom and I were driving and I remember this and I said to her, because she was beating herself up. She didn't understand, like, oh my God, now what? Like, I don't understand what the money, like she had no clue on how to do anything. And she kept saying she felt stupid. And I said, Mom, you're not stupid. I said, do you realize that my dad was an entrepreneur. So I learned a ton of what I have learned in business through my dad. But my mom was the anchor of our whole family. Like she was the heart and soul, made sure that Christmases were always perfect. But that's who she was because that's what she had to give. Mm-hmm. And I explained that to her. I said, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't know how to be the mom that I am, how to be the person that I am as a woman. She never saw herself as that. And it really broke my heart because I know that she never knew what she was worth. And then I come on to do personal development and really start learning about my worth and about women's worth and what is possible and what we are so led to believe sometimes. And it breaks my heart that she never knew that. And I could never tell her that, before she died. So yeah, that was hard. But your mom, same thing, she only did the best she could at where she was at in her life from what she learned, right?
Yeah. No, I don't have any doubts about that.
Yeah.
And I'm appreciative of her doing her best.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And it takes a lot to hold the family together.
As parents and as a mom now, I look at what's possible and I don't want my kids to ever feel that they can't share or they can't tell me or they can't, because they're never alone and you just want to be able to support them as much as you can.
You said that you've made big shifts along these past 5 years. And how has your family reacted to it?
For the most part, pretty good. Everyone, my husband's probably been the hardest one just because he's a man and he is just had a different upbringing than me, looks at things a little differently. I always say it's negative and he always tries to tell me it's not negative, it's just reality for him. And it is, and I get that, and I really do. And I think that is the one thing that I really have noticed, that when you do start to shift in your life, at first you want everyone to jump on the bandwagon with you because you see it such a positive and such a beautiful thing. And quickly you need to realize that you can't, everybody is on their own journey at their own pace and in their own time. You can be that voice of love and acceptance, but you can't make them be who you want them to be or who you see the possibility of them being. So I've been really aware of that, especially in the last few years. And my kids, I've really noticed a change in my kids and just how they look at things, how they handle things. My youngest daughter has lost like 155 pounds. She's gone for coaching as well. And she's transformed into a totally different person because she believes in herself. And that's what it is. It's the belief that you have within and the possibility that you can see that you can create.
Thank you. If people are enjoying this conversation, they want to hear more from you and listen to your podcast, where can they find you?
Well, you can get me I'm on Instagram, Facebook. I have a Facebook group called The Art of Being Unstoppable, as well as my podcast, The Art of Being Unstoppable. And I have my website's VM Beautiful. So yeah, you can access me anywhere really through social medias. And I read and respond to every email. Personally, I think it's important. And if you want to be on, if you're a woman looking to create change in your life and in this world, I'd love to have you on the podcast as well.
Amazing. Thank you, Vicki, for being on the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Tina. Yeah.